Andrew Tate last night got convicted. They actually are going to put him on trial, got indicted, excuse me, not convicted, excuse me, indicted on charges of rape and human trafficking. This is usually not a good thing to be accused of, and it seems like they think that Andrew Tate did this. So they're going to be obviously standing trial for this in Romania. It is crazy to me that it took them 6 months to figure this out. You know, if these guys end up getting away on this shit, like, the Romanian government is going to look like a bunch of corrupt clowns. Let's be real. So he has made a video on the Twitter, came out 2 hours ago. We're going to watch it right now.
So I just wanted to have an informal conversation. I was going to put a suit on and do this formally, but I think it's better if I do this informally. Highlighting some of the things that everybody already knows about how the Matrix operates and what they're trying to do to me and what I believe is going to happen next.
I feel like I've sat in a leather chair before, and I feel like there's no chance that, like, this room doesn't smell really bad, because, like, if you're sitting on there with, like, your skin against the leather, like, you're gonna sweat a lot, man. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you're gonna sweat a whole lot.
It's quite interesting that they are attacking me and attempting to vilify me at the exact same time, whereas real predators, which work for the media establishment, are being ousted. So it's really interesting to do a juxtaposition and do a comparison, right, between how they will treat Philip Schofield, who is confirmed as a groomer.
Career is over following affair.
Who is admitting he has committed sexual crimes, and how they'll treat me.
Well, I mean, did he commit a crime or did he have an affair? Because, like, having an affair isn't very good, but, I mean, that's not the same as a crime. Did he actually commit a crime, though? He did commit a crime. I don't know.
And with no convictions and no admission of sexual crimes. Look at the differences in the headlines. Look at how soft they are in their interviews with him.
You've had quite the week. How are you?
Look at how now, after only 2 or 3 days, the headlines are saying we should forgive him and feel sorry for him and let him off. Whereas me, who's been under constant media assault for over a year.
Why are people going easy on that guy? He's rich, he's a TV personality? I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like it's just, because it's an affair, Tate allegedly stealing and abusing women. Yeah, it's like, I don't know enough about this dude, so, like, it's hard for me to go and be like, oh, this is what it should be. Right? He's friends with the media. I mean, that's it. Maybe. I don't know.
They never let up. They never change. Someone sent me a clip yesterday of Philip Schofield saying he's going to kill himself and how sad he is.
Last week, if my daughters hadn't been there, I wouldn't be here.
Why do they keep pushing me? Why do they keep pushing me, playing the sympathy card? And all the headlines are now like, yeah, we can't keep attacking this poor man. For 1 year they've attacked me. And
I mean, I feel like it's pretty simple, right? I mean, like, fuck, if the guy had an affair with his wife, like, with some other dude or something like that, that sounds like a personal problem, you know? Like, that's not something that, like, somebody needs to be dragged through the streets for, or, you know, like, fucking crucified for. Like, who gives a fuck? But if it's a kid, if it's somebody who's underage, then, like, what the fuck are we doing feeling sorry for somebody who's a groomer? You see what I'm saying? Like, what are we even wasting our time for? If it's no, this is what's simple, right? Is if they are above the age of consent whenever he started talking to them, then it's fine. And if they weren't, then it's not fine. I feel like it's pretty simple, right, guys? Like, what are we even talking about? Yeah, like, it's kind of fucking obvious.
Will not stop. And this highlights the difference between the people who are on the side of the establishment and the people who are not on the side of the establishment. I've been offered to sell my soul very many times.
I mean,
I want everyone at home to understand.
Okay.
You do not become the most Googled man on earth, especially amongst a demographic of young men which have money to spend, without very large companies and corporations becoming extremely interested in you.
Yeah, of course.
I've been offered $50 to $60 million by companies I'm not going to name. All I had to do was shut up. Shut up, take the money, wear the stupid hat, wave around the stupid drink, whatever it is.
I see.
And continue to agree with whatever the Matrix says, regardless of my own personal feelings, my personal views and beliefs, and just push it on the minds of young children.
Okay.
And I refuse to do that. I refuse to sell my soul. If I would have sold my soul to a large corporation, and then this attack happened, which I very much doubt this level of Matrix attack would have even happened to me. But if it did, then this large corporation would speak to the media, and the media would be treating me like they treat Philip Schofield.
There's no way, because like that Philip dude is like probably 70 something years old. He's got 50 years of connections. Everybody knows him. It's totally different, bro. Like, they would kick him to the curb immediately and do an apology on Twitter. The same, look what they did with Kanye West.
They wouldn't be treating me as an enemy. They would treat me as an ally. All I had to do was sell my soul, and I refused. The recent BBC interview that took place, I don't think most people understand genuinely how snaky that interview was.
I could believe that. I could easily believe that they came in to try to ambush him on questions that, like, he didn't want to talk about, and, like, they definitely probably snaked them on that. Yes, sure, I could believe that.
Reason.
But what does this have to do with the case?
I had to destroy her so ruthlessly is because of how the interview was set up. When I was in jail, the BBC was constantly trying to get me to give an interview over the phone, and I refused. When I left jail, the BBC begged me for an interview, daily, begging me. And for 3 months, I refused. Eventually, once I understood, after my 3rd month of house arrest, what the Romanian government is going to do to me, which we're going to discuss shortly, I thought now would be a good time to give an interview. BBC begged me, saying that Romania has one of the most corrupt justice systems in Europe, that there's serious problems with the case, lots of evidence that's been leaked shows Andrew's innocent, that Andrew's side of the story hasn't been heard, that we're interested in fair and unbiased journalism, that we don't want to come there and do a hit piece, we want to speak to him and try and find out the truth of what's happening. In fact, we're going to send you the questions we want to ask in advance. I'm not a coward. I never ask for questions in advance.
Okay.
I don't care because I'm a professional and I will destroy anyone instantly.
All right, that makes sense, sure. So, like, maybe they are corrupt, who knows? Are they corrupt in this circumstance? It's hard to say. I think that he deserves a fair trial, of course. But, it seems kind of like, you should always take this stuff with a grain of salt.
But they sent us a list of questions, which was shown to me, and I was like, well, those are actually interesting questions. What's my mental health like? What's Romanian jail like? Mm-hmm. What's it like being in a courtroom where everyone's speaking a language you don't understand and having your liberty deprived of you? I thought this is going to be an interesting interview. I agreed.
Yeah. The
BBC, all nice smiles and all lies, sent us this entire spiel, turned up, turned the cameras on, sat down and attacked me.
Have you ever put any and applied any psychological control on any of the women you dated? Or
No, and I respect women. This idea that I'm so much smarter that I can hypnotize somebody, I think is extremely misogynistic idea. I think your idea is misogynistic to believe that women don't have their own free thoughts and free minds.
That's a pretty good answer by Andrew for sure, but like he did also say that he would manipulate people into doing things. You could literally you could have this like where he's arguing against himself.
They attempted to sucker punch me.
Mm-hmm.
They attempted to shake my hand and knock me out with a sucker punch once the cameras were on, to hit me when I was off guard. They expected me to be off guard, ready to talk about my mental health, and hit me with these questions and me make a fool of myself, unaware that I'm a master of Aikido. And when you attempt to sucker punch me, it simply misses, and I destroy you.
I think we're done.
Makes sense.
Unmatched perspicacity. Just because I'm the best there's ever been, and me, with my quick thinking, and nearly...
He's so good. This is like a comic book character. This is great. Wow.
Incomparable wit can sit and destroy a professional reporter and her entire research team's preparation. Just because I make that look easy doesn't mean I should be forced to succumb to these unfortunate circumstances. 99% of the population, if they were tricked the way I was tricked, would look a fool on camera. They were very prepared to try and make a fool of me.
Well,
but I'm
yeah,
the best
of course.
there's ever been. Did they do this to Philip Schofield? No. Where was the BBC's outrage when Rolf Harris or Jimmy Savile were touching children? They don't care.
The media's outrage with this guy. I mean, I think you read that title, it seems like they're kind of painting him in a bad light. Like, if I read this title, like, I don't know who this Jimmy guy is, but, like, if I read a title of a guy, the man behind Britain's horrific sex abuse scandal, like, I would assume that he's a bad dude. Years after? Well, I don't know. I mean, like, fuck, like, look at Harvey Weinstein. People got protected like that all the time. BBC? Yeah, I mean, maybe
Where's
not.
the BBC's outrage when certain other people, high level in society, members of the royal family, are caught having pictures with minors? They don't care. But they will continue to try and convince you that I am something I am not on repeat over and over and over again. These people are worse than disingenuous. They are worse than simply liars.
I mean, this is my perspective on it, right? Is that, like, I think that you can fully acknowledge what he's saying is true, but still also acknowledge that maybe he did something wrong also. Because, like, I think that what he's saying, right, is that, like, oh, well, some people get preferential treatment by the government. It's like, for example, how is it that, like, Hunter Biden basically has, like, 1,000 pictures of himself doing crack with hookers, but somehow some other dude does crack once and he gets caught and now he's in jail for 20 years? How does this happen? But, like, the solution to that, I think most people feel, isn't that nobody should go to jail for committing crimes. It's that everybody should go to jail for committing crimes. So, like, this doesn't really mean that he's innocent. I think that, like, the best interpretation of this is that they're guilty the same as I am. Because, like, this isn't really an argument of fairness. Because I can agree that, yeah, I think some people probably do get treated with kid gloves. You know, they get, they get excuses for things that are very bad that probably, should, like, completely fuck their life and it doesn't happen. For sure. But, like, that doesn't mean that, like, the solution to that is not to not punish anybody.
They are evil. They are a club. And if you sell your soul and join the club, they offer you protection. And if you don't, they aim to destroy you, which is what they're trying to do to me.
Okay.
The reason I decided to give the interview to the BBC is because I now believe that the next step, and I'm going to call it, because I've called everything that's happened to me so far. Look at my old interviews. I said, stage 2, they're going to try and put me in jail.
I understand that you get 3 strikes in this game. Strike 1 is they try and shut you up and discredit you, which I've just been through. Strike 2 is they try and put you in jail for no reason. And strike 3 is they kill you.
The truth is this. So I knew it was coming. I absolutely not knew it was coming because of how orchestrated it was. The only thing, and I'll state this at the beginning, the only reason I'm upset by being canceled is because I've expired one of my lives. I mean, I'd never kill myself. Don't fucking try. But, bro, because that's what's next. That's what's next. It's scary. I'm telling you, everyone thinks I'm paranoid. Everyone thinks I'm crazy.
So it's like every single organization on the face of the planet is corrupt. This is what I say to people. I say, listen, and I'm going to say this on this podcast now because I say it on every other one. I would never, ever kill myself. I truly believe they're going to come and they're going to try and kill me on a long enough time frame because they tried to shut me up and I won't shut up. They're either going to try and put me in jail or they're going to kill me. And I would never kill myself under any circumstances ever. And the reason I say this, and I say this to people, and they go, but what can they put you in jail for? And I'm like, how ignorant are you in your ignorance to believe they need a reason? You believe it's fair. You believe I can get a lawyer and prove myself innocent. That's not how it works. They decide you're guilty long before and they find a reason why. And it doesn't matter what you do about it, you will pay the fucking price. It's not fair. None of it is. Every single system's corrupt. It actually annoys me when people say that to me. Well, just get a lawyer. Why? They can't put you in jail if you're innocent. Yes, they fucking can. And that's what people don't
They can also put you in jail if you're guilty, too.
understand about the world. They can and they do and they fucking will. And that's what's scary.
I'm going to call what's going to happen next. The Matrix is extremely angry. And they are angry because their weapons aren't working. I remain unfazed. This is the first time in history someone who's canceled became more popular than before. This is the first time in history where a full broadside of media lies for over a year across every single outlet that they control has failed. Nobody believes them? Nobody. So now what do they do? Well, I believe the UK is going to try and raise charges against me. Don't know what for. I've done nothing wrong. Something's going to appear from nowhere. In fact, I will say that I have some very high-level friends and some whistleblowers who are confirming exactly that to me. They've looked at me and thought, we have to get this guy. What's he done? Nothing. Find something. Who cares?
Yeah, somebody in chat mentioned something. Jesus was really popular, and they canceled him too. That's true. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Get some papers, move some papers around, get a judge who'll stamp them, and put him in jail. It doesn't matter that I've done nothing wrong. I also want to say that I believe the Romanian government is going to charge me. They're not going to charge me because they have any evidence, and they're not going to charge me because I'm guilty of anything. They're going to charge me because after a 14-month investigation, 6 months of arrest, which is the maximum they can possibly give me without charge, I don't think they can just drop this. Imagine they just drop this tomorrow.
I think he's right about this, that, I mean, they're kind of in a position where they have to charge him or it's going to really hurt their reputation a lot. I think this is true. But the other reason why they might have to charge him is because he's guilty. You know, like, so, I mean, it's kind of like weird because it's like, basically, either I'm innocent or they're lying about me being guilty. So in his mind, there's no way he's not guilty. I don't know if he's guilty or not. This is my perspective. Now, personally, I think that, I mean, from what I've seen, the behavior that I've seen with Andrew Tate over the years and just everything that's happened, I think that he's probably guilty of at least one of these things. And I think they can probably prove it because he seems like the kind of guy to just go out and do stuff and not give a fuck. But I wouldn't put him in jail because I thought he was guilty. Of course he deserves to go to trial. Absolutely he deserves a fair trial. And if there's no evidence for it, then he shouldn't go to jail. But if you ask me, do I think he's guilty or not? Yeah, I think he is.
Oh, we made it all up. Imagine that. What choice do they have but to charge me? If they charge me, I have to go to trial. Now, of course, I still believe in Romanian justice. I really, truly believe that even with Romanian justice systems or matrix-controlled justice systems, I will be found innocent. Because I know the case file, I know what's in it.
Okay.
But that's going to take years. They're going to waste 1.5 to 2 years of my life, make me go to trial. Then when I'm found not guilty, it's been years. Who cares, right? Distance from event. If they drop it now, it's the biggest story in the world.
That's probably true. I think he's right about that. That, like, yeah, they'll drag it out for a really long time if they can't get him. Because if they don't, then it's going to make them look really bad. I think that part is true, definitely.
They can't drop it. They're going to charge me. They're not going to charge me because I've done anything wrong. They're going to charge me because that's how the Matrix works. Unfortunately, I'm up against an enemy which I can't really, truly beat. I can't beat them. All I can do is continue to discredit them to the point where nobody believes them anymore.
Yeah,
and I cannot do that without having perspicacious, intelligent people at home who are analyzing the situation and truly understand what is happening to me. If I have to martyr myself, if I have to some degree sacrifice my liberty and the quality of my life to highlight how the Matrix operates, how the legal system and the media work hand in hand,
like a Messiah
to try and
situation,
convince the
or a
populace
martyr?
somebody is guilty before a judge says they are guilty because they have pre-decided to say this person is guilty because of his wrong think. If I have to sacrifice myself to do those things, then I guess at least my imprisonment is a noble one. And I'm a man. And although Romanian jail is as close to hell as you can find on planet Earth, if I have to suffer it, I will do that because I will not sell my soul. The point of this video is only to highlight and make clear the differences in how the people inside of the club are treated against versus the people who are outside of the club. And also,
I mean, like, again, I feel like you can agree that shit is corrupt and, you know, famous and influential people don't get punished the way normal people do. Like, I think you can easily fucking admit that. But like, I mean, aren't there text messages of Andrew Tate talking about how he like literally uses something to launder money? I mean, I don't know. I feel like they've got to at least get a few. I mean, they've got a few things. But it's all fake. I mean, I don't know. Is it all fake? Fuck, man. It's planted.
So for me to predict the future for everyone to understand, when new charges come, when new countries attempt to attack me, when the Matrix unrelentingly continues to print lies about me and try to convince the world that I am a bad person, I hope it does nothing else but show the world that I am a good person. These people are liars. The people they tell you are good are not good. The people they tell you are bad are the good ones. Do not believe a word that they say. All in all, my predictions for the future are not certain. My future is certainly not certain. Whether I'll continue to breathe or continue to be free, nobody knows. But the one thing I can guarantee to absolutely everybody at home, and anybody who believes in me and my message, and anybody who listens to me speak, I will never sell my soul, I will never be controlled, and I will never lie.
Okay, well, that pretty much settles it. I mean, I like, look, I don't know, guys. I mean, I don't know if he's guilty or not. I mean, I have no idea. Like, as I said, I've seen, like, all of the leaked screenshots and evidence, and everything that I've seen makes it look really bad for him. It does. It looks really, really bad. And then you have, like, way back in the day that he got removed from Big Brother on the UK because of some other sexual shit. And this is, like, way before he was anybody important. So it's not like the Matrix was doing it to him back then, because they'd have no reason to, because he wouldn't be a threat to the Matrix. So it's like, how is it that you have this pattern of behavior that extends beyond the realm of the Matrix? Like, you know, the period of time the Matrix is affecting you, or you're able to affect the Matrix, but like the same shit is happening? I don't know, man. And it's like, again, all this kind of stuff that you see, you can never really be sure of it. Wasn't a sexual thing? The Big Brother thing wasn't sexual? What the fuck are you talking about? You guys don't remember that? So there it is. The back of the clip, the kinky sex video. There's this one here. And none of you innocent blaming somebody else. We have to go, yeah, I don't, is whipping a woman. Yeah, well, I don't know if that's the one, because one of the girls came out and said that it was like some weird BDSM thing. But I think there were multiple videos, so it's hard to say. That was also the Matrix. It was consensual. Yeah, I don't know. Like, you're biased as fuck? I don't really think that I'm biased. I actually think that I'm probably one of the most unbiased people that's talking about this. And whenever, this is my opinion, right? Is whenever you, whenever you have somebody who is so convinced that, like, their side is right, an objective, like, objective analysis of this seems like bias to them. Because they're so used to hearing one thing. Are people really on Tate's side? Well, yeah, I mean, I can see why people would think that he's, like, innocent, sure, because they don't think that he did any of this stuff, and they believe him, and they don't trust the government. I mean, that makes sense, right? So, think you're looking at this fairly? Yeah, I feel like I'm extremely fair about this. And, again, like, I think that it's important to keep in mind that I don't think that he should go to jail. Right? I don't think he should go to jail just because, you know, he's a bad dude or he's an asshole. I think he should go to jail if he commits crimes. Like, I don't want Andrew Tate to be guilty. I don't think hardly anybody does. Because if you want Andrew Tate to be guilty, that means that you want there to have been sexual assault and rape and human trafficking. Who wants that? Nobody wants that. So nobody really wants this to be true. But there's a lot of evidence and a lot of behavior that is extremely fucking sus. Can we just acknowledge that? This is not it's like fucking, like, this is kind of a bad example, right? Because, like, Bill Cosby had like 41 people come out against him. But, like, after Bill Cosby got exposed, People went back like 30 years and they saw like clip after clip after clip of him doing and saying weird shit. And everybody just blew it off. So I don't think this is really that unreasonable. It's the same with Harvey Weinstein. Is that if you went back and like you had interviews with actresses saying weird stuff about him and like everybody blew it off because they just thought it was a joke. It wasn't. So I do think a pattern of behavior, it's not, it doesn't mean he's guilty, but it is sus. Not necessarily. No, you're right. Not necessarily, and that's why you have the trial. But damn, man. There's no amount of evidence that Tate fans will accept change mind. Yeah, and this is something that I would ask. This is something that I would ask anybody who is like a big fan of Andrew Tate. What level of evidence do you require to believe that he's guilty? Because if that doesn't matter how much evidence you receive, nothing, well, then it's not, then you're not being objective, right? And that's the thing. They're not going to believe it. None, right? So it doesn't matter what you tell them. That's how flat earthers work. Well, they're still listing women as victims who specifically say they're not victims. Yeah, but like, let's say this, right? Let's say there's 6 victims and 5 are lying. There's still 6. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying. Like, what does that mean? Oh, he only did it once, so it's okay? Come on. There's still majority lying? Yeah, you're right. I think that... I feel like it is absolutely possible. And I would even expect some of the people and the girls to testify against him to lie. I would. I would expect at least 1 or 2 of them to lie. Sure. But there's a lot. Are they all lying? I don't know. Let's see here. Isn't it the same logic with politician fans? They won't believe it as well. Right now, Tate's a figure for some people, which makes it weird, I think. Well, all I'm really saying is that if there is no evidence that will convince you of the contrary to what you believe, is it really something that you arrived at through logic, or is this just a belief that's based off of faith? Because I don't really, I don't really have a lot of, like, people can believe whatever they want, right? But like, whenever you put that opinion out into the public and you want other people to accept it and respect it, you have to have evidence. You have to have a reason for people to think this, a reason for people to say, hey, this is actually true, or I agree with you. So if there's nothing that will convince you that he's guilty, is this really a logical conclusion that you've arrived at? Boy Cried Wolf situation, tired of all the junk in the media that's been proven that they're lying about. Yeah, exactly. And I think that that's the problem, right? Is that the reputation the media has is extremely bad. A lot of people distrust the media. And because they distrust the media so much and their reputation is so bad, a lot of people instinctively trust Andrew Tate because he's against the media. But the truth is that I think there's snakes on both sides. I think there's people that, you know, like they make fake news and other people call real news fake news. Like, I think both of these things are true. No, some of the women listed as victims have come out and said that they're not victims, so the prosecutors won't remove them from the case. Check his pinned tweet. So the women have said that they were, okay, well, I mean, like, the prosecutors should remove them. Okay, think of it as like a sports game, right? And you have, like, 2 teams. And one team has 3 points and the other team has 10 points. Now, the team that lost got 3 points. But that doesn't mean that they won. I understand that there are some people that believe that he's innocent. And there are some things that, you know, were proven to be false. And they were fabricated. They were lies. Absolutely. But does that mean that everything is fabricated or a lie? That's not where I would start at. Yeah, it means it's all, yes, it means it's all fabricated. I don't think that it's all fabricated, man. Like, come on. It doesn't explain corruption in the slightest. If you can't get a fair trial, then there shouldn't be one. Yeah, but who decides what a fair trial is? The person who's on trial? Well, guess what? Everybody who's guilty is going to say the trial isn't fair. Jail and prison is full of innocent men. What do you think? Like, you think they're gonna be like, oh god, all right, you got me? No, man, they're gonna say that they didn't. Like, I mean, just think this logic out. You're saying you're being objective. Everything you say always leads back to him being guilty by default. He's not guilty by default. I think that he's guilty. If I had the power, I wouldn't convict him as being guilty. Does that make sense? Like I'm sorry to say, every judge and every person going into a trial, if they have any knowledge of like the person about it, they probably have an opinion on it to begin with. They're like, oh, he probably did it, or he probably didn't do it. Right? If they know who the person is. They have like this is like their inclination, because that's what people do. They have an idea, oh yeah, I think this happened, but maybe not. Is that crazy? I mean, like, I think everybody does that. Don't you think that by at least a year now, there'd be some clear-cut evidence of Andrew doing something he's being accused of, but we receive nothing but lies? Well, that's because they're not going to put out the evidence until the trial. Remember what happened with Johnny Depp? That's what happened with him. That's the way actual legal cases work. Is that they go out and they build a body of evidence that is strong enough to make a case to convict the person. That doesn't mean they're like tweeting out, you know, the Romanian Twitter account isn't tweeting out, you know, this is exhibit 7, you know, -B. That's not how it works. We don't release information because we have to protect witnesses. A lawyer here? Well, I think that's probably true. I mean, there's a lot of reasons. That makes sense too. Absolutely. Everyone's so radicalized that Tate could tell them that he's guilty, and then their response will be that the Matrix forced him to say it. I think you're right. I think that that's a very good insight. I think that people have made their decision, and they have already decided whether this dude is guilty or not. And I think that most of the people that are following this situation do not actually care whether he is actually guilty or not. They have no interest in the actual justice of it. They just want to see whatever their biases be confirmed. I think this is a bad thing from both sides. I don't think it's good to just want him to see him be innocent because you like him, or I don't think it's bad because you think Andrew Tate is the worst person ever. He still deserves a trial. And in my opinion, he deserves a fair trial more than anybody else. Because that's really, you know, a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. If you can't give a trial to somebody who is unpopular, and you give an unfair trial to somebody who's unpopular, well, I mean, bro, of course, right? It's like the idea of freedom of speech isn't there to protect somebody saying that they like hot dogs. It's there to protect somebody from saying something that's very unpopular and disliked. That's what it's there for. So, of course, he should get a fair trial, and I absolutely think that. And I think that's very fair. I'll read a few more questions and I want to move on, okay? Don't you think victims might not think that they're victims, like all stories we hear of women being abused by our partner and she still gets back with them? Yeah, I mean, sure, that could happen, but I mean, like, we can't really, like, I don't think it's fair for you to tell a woman that, like, you think that they're a victim, and so you tell them, hey, you're a victim, you have to listen to my analysis of your life and accept it over your own. I think that's very unfair. Lots of people get unfair trials. You're so right, man. You're absolutely right, and I completely agree with you. I feel like mob mentality has pushed the victims to retract statements. I think that there's a good chance that people that make a negative statement about Andrew Tate, like especially women that had interactions with them, I think that there is a chilling effect to that whenever you have everybody who is, you know, like so much on his side, and they just assume anybody who says anything bad about him is being paid by the Matrix. So yeah, for sure. What about Stockholm Syndrome? Well, that's up to the that's up to the fucking, like, the prosecutors and, you know, the case to decide. Do you think Tate's starting to become delusional with his Matrix thing, or is it just the way he talks to his community? I think it's both. I feel like, really, I mean, if you contextualize, right, Andrew Tate is still a person. The dude spent, like, you know, multiple months in a Romanian jail cell just for fucking, like, I mean, because he wasn't really even convicted of anything. I think that really sucks, to be honest. Like, I don't like the idea that they can just take you and put you in a jail cell without your consent or against your consent for a, you know, like a random amount of time, and then just say, hey, you know, we're not sure if you're guilty or not. Now, I understand that he's a flight risk, but, like, he's still a flight risk right now, so why is he in his house? Like, I think house arrest is fine with no charges. Yeah, I mean, like, fuck. So I don't think that's fair. And I know they do that here too, and I don't think that's good either. I think that, you know, if you want to hold somebody against their will, you should have a, you know, a very good reason for it. What about Tristan? He's not Andrew Tate's personal crime behavior, so it must be about both of them? Maybe, I don't know. Like, we're going to have to wait and see. So yeah, either charge him or don't. Just don't throw him behind bars because he might be guilty. It's stupid. Yeah, definitely. When you're a suspect, they can keep you in jail until they give evidence. Yeah, I understand that. I don't like the idea of that, especially whenever it's like, you know, keeping you in jail for like a day or two is very different than like, you know, 30-day time frames, you know, that are added on top of each other. Yeah, I mean, not same rules or country. Yeah, I mean, again, like this is what they do over there. Who gives a fuck, right? But like, this is just my opinion on it.